To make this 12-inch block, you will need to cut centers about 4 inches big. Now on this crazy quilt, the great thing about it, you don't have to cut everything perfect. So if you can cut a square or about something that looks kind of like a square, about 4 inches, that's great. You'll also need some logs. And to make these logs, I cut strips. You need to cut these strips anywhere from about 2 inches on up to 3 or 4 inches wide. You can just use scraps of fabric if you want to. It doesn't make any difference. And if you decide you want to make a smaller one, you most certainly can cut, let's say, a 2-inch center and then strips that are about 1 inch or so wide. So it's up to you however you want to do that. But I'll be giving directions for the 12-inch one. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your square center, and then you're going to take a strip. Now, the strips don't have to be perfect, but they do have to have at least one side that's straight. So you can see that this strip is, not so nice and neat on the other side, but one side is straight. And you're going to take that strip, and you can either lay it the right sides together like this and line it up here, or you can offset it. It's up to you. I like to have a little bit extra at the top and some extra on the bottom. If this is too much here, then I can just clip that off. So I'm going to take that to my sewing machine. So let's do it with this strip. I got a straight edge here. I'm going to offset it like this. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and sew 1/4 inch seam down here because I'm a quilter and I usually am sewing a 1/4 inch seam. But on this project, you can sew any seam width as long as you remain consistent. And after I sew that seam, I'm going to get something that looks like this. So the next thing I want to do is I want to trim that. So I'm going to take my scissors or my rotary cutter and I'm going to trim that extra, and I have a piece that looks like that. Now, it's up to me. I can either trim at this point or I can go on and continue sewing. So I've decided that I'm going to trim. Let me get my rotary cutter. So I'm going to put my rotary ruler down and I'm going to open my rotary cutter and trim this away. So I've got a straight edge now. If I wanted to pick up this piece that wasn't so nice and neat, I've got a straight edge here that I can sew, or I've drawn a line here. So it really doesn't make any difference when you're sewing these together as long as there's one straight edge. So the next strip I'm going to pick up, I think I'll use this strip. And I forgot one thing. You need to put the last one sewn up on top. So next one that's going to go on is this. And I'm going to put right sides together. And let's see, I think if I put it like this, it might be too much of an angle. So I'm going to angle it again like this. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew that line. Press it back and I've got something that looks like that. So at this point, I might decide, I don't like the way this is working over there. So let's see, let me fool around. I think I'll like this. And I'm going to take my rotary cutter and trim that off. And let's see, I've just decided I want to trim all the way around. Give me an idea of what I'm working on. And let's see, let's take this off at an angle. Okay, so I've got a block that looks like this. The last one sewn happens to be this blue, and I'm ready to sew the next log on. So I'm going to take this pink one. I like to start out a little bit ahead or a little bit above where the block ends. You'll put right sides together. This time I'm just going to sew straight down that line. I'd take it to the sewing machine and then I would press it back and I'd end up with something like this. And I'm going to work my way all the way around, sewing strips until I get to my desired size.